Warning: video contains graphic images some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. So basically what happened was that there was an argument. There's an individual who's also included here named Mr. G, right? A 30-year-old tall African American male. And according to the plaintiff, they were all in the studio and things escalated, an argument ensued. The party then proceeded to go towards the restroom to address their issues or perhaps, de-escalate. And these individuals was P. Diddy himself, the fiddler, his son, Justin Combs, and the individual named as Mr. G. Alright, so they were in a heated conversation. That conversation was moved out of the studio into a restroom adjacent to where Mr. Jones was sitting. So again, this is the plaintiff who's just, I guess, trying to mind his own business. And apparently, during the argument, gunshots erupted. Mr. Jones immediately went into a state of shock and feared that he would be shot next. Mr. Jones believed that he would be shot through the door due to how close he was. So basically, the shooting started, and two individuals walked out, and one remained in the restroom. And the one who remained in the restroom was Mr. G. All right, everyone stood around looking upon G. Frustrated by the lack of aid, Mr. Jones dropped everything and ran to G and immediately began placing pressure on G's gunshot wound to his stomach. And again, after the shooting, Diddy and his son walked out and disappeared. And a crowd gathered. So I guess there were other people in the studio. Maybe that's why they kind of removed themselves from where they were and tried to go in the bathroom and have this conversation. And I guess things just further escalated in there. But it's kind of shocking how immobilized everybody was. I mean, these are people that they know. I mean, if they work within the same department, in the studio and so forth, I mean, clearly they're acquaintances. And yet, nobody's doing anything but the plaintiff. So he tries to help the individual, put some pressure on him and stop the bleeding, and he found out that he was hit multiple times. There was a gunshot wound to something I think it was his hip. It's mentioned in here somewhere. Right. Was lying in a restroom floor in a fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his leg area. So he was shot in the stomach. As he was applying pressure on his stomach, Mr. Jones realized that G was gushing blood from another area near his leg and hip. So I'm assuming he must have been shot probably 2 times. But yeah, so I guess the guy tries to help him, but the real kicker here is, by the way, this is some of the images, graphic indeed, disturbing. But the real kicker here is, in addition to having committed an attempted homicide, if this is what this would be classified as because the individual survived, and again, we do not know who's the shooter, whether it was his son or whether it was Puffy himself, but they walked out, disappeared, but Puffy was still instructing his staff members on what to say when the police was contacted, he actually told them that they should report that the individual was shot outside of the studio in a drive-by shooting. And because the his staff members were in fear of Diddy himself, and were, under his dominion and his control, they were afraid. And this is the thing, Diddy has displayed tremendous aptitude for violence. I remember a while back there was a case where he had attempted to hit his son's football coach with a kettlebell. When you read Cassie's court documents, I mean, the things he did to her, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's shocking. It kind of makes you wonder, is this stuff even true? But I mean, these are court documents, and with the Cassie situation, it's for me, I'm inclined to believe that stuff is true, and it's extremely, you have to understand, business moguls and people who are in the spotlight like this cannot take, having this bad reputation, and but sometimes I feel like they conduct themselves in a manner where it does compromise who they are, it does compromise their business, and so I think some of them would just rather make a payment, a payout. I mean, that's exactly what happened with the Cassie situation. They reached a settlement the day after she filed her lawsuit, but that means within 24 hours she immediately got compensated. I mean, it is shocking.